The first Blink show ever, we played at this biker bar in South San Diego.
I think we played some Alkaline Trio songs, Misfits songs.
My first My Chemical Romance memory is tied to him.
I think we gave them the shocking impression.
I was 13. This was in a different band. I had gone to high school, and I was a freshman in high school. I met through mutual friends. There was a senior. His name was John McGuire, and he played guitar. And he heard that I played guitar, so he invited himself over to my house to see if I could actually play. So I remember I maybe played like a Nirvana song or something, and he was like, "Oh, cool, you can actually play. We're starting a band, and we have a gig in about a month." And it was at the Junior Ring Dance. So he was a senior. Two of the guys that he put in the band were juniors, so that we could play the gig. And then I was a freshman, and so I wasn't old enough to stay. So I played the show, and then I was kicked out immediately after.
The first gig that I ever played was at a party in the desert. We lived in this small town, and the high school kids would meet up in the desert and drink beer and get in fights and play punk rock music. So yeah, that was my first gig. The first Blink show ever, we played at this biker bar in South San Diego, and it was literally the bartender, one patron, the three of us. We played one song, and the guy said, "Can you please turn it down?" We turned down. We played another song. He said, "Can you please turn down more?" We turned it down. We got a third song in, and he said, "You know what, guys? Let's just call it. Let's just call it. Have some Snapple. You guys earned it."
I rented out a small room in Houston. It was like a 120 cap, and spent months promoting it so that way it would sell out. And we could just be like, "Oh yeah, our first show was sold out." And we just kept doing that. And then promoters would be like, "Oh my God, they sell out all their shows." And then we got to open for other people and blah, blah, blah. So anyway, first one was dope. We played Airplane Conversations because that's all we had. And then we played Airplane Conversations faster. Yeah, we played it again, just a lot quicker all the way through. And that was the end of the first show.
It was at a school fete back in the day, and we started out with "We Will Rock You" by... Wait, no, is that what it's actually called? "We Will Rock You"?
Yeah.
By Queen, obviously. Thank God I wasn't singing at this point. I was just playing guitar. And because it was a school fete, our singer at the time was like, "Yo, Drummoyne, wake up, because we will rock you." And then we started playing doo-doo-sh, and then the drummers our drummer's kick pedal broke, so we only got like 2 bars in, and then it was just like over.
Need to find this band.
Yeah, I want to find this.
Need to find
never
this
find
band.
it ever.
First IDK house show was in Los Angeles, and we booked it in secret, didn't tell anyone what we were doing, and we didn't for like the first year. But it was cool to be able to play in a room full of strangers that didn't know or didn't care what bands we were in before, and just to see if we could get their attention with the music we were playing. So it turned out good. It was a lot of fun.
Actually, what comes to mind to me is Gary's first show with Bowling for Soup.
That was a doozy.
Yeah, we got together about 3 times before that show, and each time we'd play one song, and then we'd go sit outside and order pizza and drink beer.
Each time we played the same song.
Yeah.
So for my first show, we loaded up in the van and drove to Nashville, Tennessee. And
15 hours.
15-hour drive, and I had only played one song 3 times. And so each song Jarrett would announce, "Hey, this next song, so-and-so." I'd wait for him and be like, "Come over here. How does this song start?" And then he'd go, "Ba-na-na-na." Got it. And then
Got
I
it.
counted off.
Here we go.
It's a little bit difficult to think of what the first gig was in terms of real gig, because there was like talent show scenarios where there was like pretend band. But the first actual show that I played was at a art gallery / definitely front for a drug selling ring in the north side of Cincinnati. We played with like 37 other bands. It was like a punk show, and Beer Sack, which was the first iteration of Black Veil Brides, played. And at the time we were playing just a handful of covers. I think we played some Alkaline Trio songs, Misfits songs, and it was a very early iteration. And in fact, the drummer of that band was my dad's drummer from his band. So he was, I would estimate, 28 to 30 years older than us, if not more. He was a very nice guy named Frank, wonderful person. Really appreciate him doing it. In fact, he did it for a couple of those kind of basement show scenarios. But it made for some funny pictures. My hair was about 30 feet tall, and I remember like white batting gloves and like a button-up shirt with a bow tie. I looked like if Stephen Piercy was your butler. That was kind of, I guess, the look that I had going.
Was at Sound Control in Manchester. We were supporting a band called With the Punches and Me vs. Iero, who are sadly no longer bands anymore, but great pop punk bands if you want to go check them out. And yeah, we played in like the middle floor of a bar. It was great. And I think there was maybe like 100 people at the show in general, and we had like, I mean, just to have people singing along at our first ever show was sick, and there was maybe like 5 or 6 people at the front who were like singing along, and I got to like give them the mic and be Mr. Pop Punk for a second, and yeah, so that was where it all started. Thanks to Mr. Cam Hack as well, put us on that show. Absolute legend. Booked our first ever show and is still working with us today. So yeah.
First show ever was at a place in Fullerton called Al Cappuccino's. It was a coffee house. We played outside in the like courtyard. Maybe like 100 kids from my high school came. So I was in high school, and I stood still. I stood in one spot the whole time. I had what I called fish floppy arm. Like I was holding the mic, and then this hand was like doing this thing the whole time. I don't know why. And I read lyrics from a piece of paper. It's professional.
Our first ever Simple Plan show, I believe, was at a place called The Pioneer, or it was called something else actually. It's Clyde's in Montreal, small bar. We'd rehearsed quite a bit. We'd been really ready as a band. We had our own original songs. We even had some recordings of them, and we made some flyers. Got a photographer, full on like posing. Put them all over town and played a show to all of our friends. We invited 200 people. They all came. A lot of drinking and a lot of good times. My mom came to the show, and afterwards she said, "I couldn't hear your voice. Tell the sound guy he needs to turn you up, Pierre." But it was fun. It was a good show. People liked it.
We're supposed to do more practice, but my members, I mean like Tolu, the guitarist, gonna decided the shows already. So we don't have not much like the practice time. So it was kind of terrible.
The first As It Is show was in a living room of a house in 2012 near the skate park at the level of in Brighton, and it was just a crazy house show. We were terrible, of course. We had a bunch of our friends from Brighton playing. I remember it was just full. It was a living room, so you couldn't fit more than like 30 people in, but just the whole night everyone was crammed in. People were ripping light fixtures out of the ceiling, and people were watching like from the kitchens, like standing up like on the cabinets and stuff. So it was pretty cool. It was a good time.
The first gig I ever like sung at was for the band that I jammed with Luke as well, which was in a hall in Australia, in Byron Bay, to about 30 people. I think it was in our mind it was crazy because like 5 of our friends were moshing, and it was skids. My first real gig was when I was 6 years old, and I got the lead in the school play, and I got to sing in some weird Snow White mashup that they had going. It was sick.
Our debut single is Doki Doki Morning, and during the song there's a part of the we're like down. The audience had no clue what was going on. Then I think we gave them the shocking impression.
This is kind of like a 2-part answer. First technical show we ever played, we weren't even a real band at the time. Like
we didn't have a name. Like we literally just, I think we came up with the name like week before or something like that.
So like we barely had the name. We played to like 300 kids in Marine City,
Dude,
Michigan.
it was like 30 kids. What are you talking about? It was a small show.
Looking back, maybe I thought it was more. That was a very interesting show. But our first ever real show as a band, we played in Pittsburgh. That was 300 or 400 kids. That was crazy at the Altar Bar, which actually was like an old church.
Yeah, I don't think that's a venue anymore.
It's not a venue anymore, but I'll never forget it. We played the show, and then afterwards, we thought, oh, no one's going to want to like hang out with us or anything, so we can go out and sign some stuff. Little did we know that we got bombarded by every single
All
person
300 kids
there.
stayed and wanted
And
autographs. It was awesome.
The coolest experience probably ever.
First show I ever played was at a Battle of the Bands. I want to say probably in 1996. All the other bands were playing like Beatles or some Mozart pieces, and my band got up there. We're in 3rd grade, and we played Dive by Nirvana and Tomorrow by Silverchair, and we thought we were pretty damn cool.
There's two sides to this. So before we were an actual band, we were writing songs together, kind of feeling each other out. We was already living in the same house, but anyway. And we played at Ravensbourne, and it was open mic night, and we were I was really nervous.
I was nervous. You was making me more nervous.
And then we put our names down, and we took it off. We didn't have a band name then, did we?
No, we literally were just like Georgia and Amy.
Georgia and Amy, and then took it off, put it on, took it off, and then eventually, last minute, we put it on, and we played to this just a pub local in southeast London, and it went off, didn't it? We played 3 songs, and everyone just loved it.
What was our first like official Nova Twins gig?
Nova Twins Barfly. It was Barfly at the time, but now Camden Assembly.
I think we was on just like a cool club night, and our friends were there as well. And I think it was alright. Don't think many people was there, but it was good fun.
Didn't we support Gecko?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, so Barfly. It's Camden Assembly.
We did one show before as the band. It was the 6 of us, and we only had 3 songs written, and we only played those 3 songs in Bluntstown. But we didn't have a band name yet, so we didn't really play. We didn't call ourselves Mayday Parade, but we played 3 Cheers for 5 Years, One Man Drinking Games, and When I Get Home You're So Dead. And we didn't even call ourselves anything. We played for like our girlfriends and like friends. And there were like 5 people there or something, and but then we got the name Mayday Parade. We put out a couple songs online, and then there was kind of this like buzz about the band, at least locally in Tallahassee, especially because it was the 2 bands that split up and came together as one, and both of those bands
had a good draw.
had a decent fan base in Tallahassee. And so the first show, I think it was sold out, or it was close to sold out anyway, at the Beta Bar. And I think at that point, we only had
like 500 people.
Right, yeah. But that was great. It was great to have first show with that kind of momentum and people singing along right off the bat and stuff. And it was a lot of fun.
Sean Simon is someone who, one of my best friends in the world, but like my first My Chemical Romance memory is tied to him.
Oh, really?
We played our first show in Garfield, New Jersey at a VFW hall. And it's no secret, I have stage fright, not so much anymore, but in the beginning I was like, oh my God, like the thought of playing in front of an audience kind of frightened me. We were about to go on. Pensy Prep was closing the show. He was in Pensy Prep. He was the keyboardist with Frank. But I remember him just being like, he found like, there was like a bag of like chips and it had a sticker on it that said sandwich partner. Like, you're supposed to buy this with the sandwich, but he took the sticker off and he put it on me and he goes, "You're my sandwich partner, man." And I was like, that stuck with me to this day. Like that's my earliest My Chem memory with Sean Simon being like, "You got this, dude."
First ever show that I ever played was at my elementary school, top of the world school, in the multi-purpose room, and I believe it was the jazz band. That was the first time I actually played drums in front of people, and this great teacher, Mr. Bautorf, he was our music teacher. He knew I was a rock drummer and I wanted to be, and I'd only been playing drums for 6 months, but he taught me, and we played a song called Cute, which is an old jazz standard. Drum solo, and I just knew that's what I wanted to do forever. Play Cute.